Hi, welcome to First Chapter Friday for Teens. We are going to be reading the first chapter of one of the new books in our library called Every Stolen Breath by Kimberly Gabriel. And you can see there's a skyline of a city on the top of the cover. If I flip it around, it might be a little more recognizable. Should be. It's the city of Chicago. So this takes place right in our backyard, pretty much. This is a fiction book, and I would classify it as mystery. Chapter 1. One of these tourists is about to die. They flock to Navy Pier from places like Plainfield, Iowa, and Hartville, Ohio, where I'm sure they lead normal lives. But here, they become hoarders of magnets and sweatshirts and shopping bags plastered with Chicago emblems. They eat Dot's ice cream, take pictures of the new lakefront mansions, and ignore the warnings about walking in groups fewer than 4. They're easy targets, all of them. I pull my sweater sleeves over my palms and narrow in on a pudgy woman wearing pantyhose, tennis shoes, and monochrome blue. She's easily the adult version of Violet Beauregard from Willy Wonka after Violet turns into a giant blueberry. The woman bends over and picks up a coin from the ground, as if it will bring her luck. A lanky guy with red stubble and a designer trucker hat almost trips over her. He swerves at the last second, stumbling over his own feet before smoothing out his flannel shirt and resuming his jaunty swagger. They're oblivious. It could be either of them, and they wouldn't see it coming. Of course, the second I mark them as potential victims, I can't even blink without envisioning their beatings and how they begin. A fist in the back of the neck, an uppercut punch in the gut. The first hit comes out of nowhere, a seemingly random attack from a guy in the crowd. Then, within seconds, dozens of teens appear, swarming the victim like a colony of flesh-eating ants, hitting and kicking to the death. Just like they did to my dad. A damp chill rustles through my hair as the wind skates off the lake behind me. My chest tightens, and I glance at my purse slumped beside me on the weathered bench slats. As tempted as I am to reach for my inhaler, today is not the day to show any kind of weakness. I pinch the bridge of my nose and remind myself to stay vigilant, alert. The day's too gray to see the whole half-mile stretch where I'm sitting at the end of the pier. Even the lines of the Ferris wheel towering over the middle look blurred as they pushed through a heavy sky. Still, I don't see any reinforcement, police officers, a SWAT team. You'd think a tweet with the date and coordinates of the next attack would alert them all. It's not like the code was hard to figure out. But when I called the city's anonymous tip hotline, the operator dismissed me like I was some delusional kid flipping out over a random comment she'd found on the internet. She assured me she'd pass my note along and remind me the death mob era was behind us. Then she hung up before I could think of an articulate rebuttal, leaving me sitting there, mouth gaping like some taxidermized fish. Even Detective Irving neglected to call me back. Not that he actually proved his competency after my dad's death. Apparently, like all city officials, he'd rather sit behind his desk and adamantly deny the death mob swarm has been lying dormant for the last 2 years, waiting for the right moment to reemerge. By now, at the very least, this place should be littered with undercover agents snapping their telephoto lenses at every potential perpetrator. Something part of me knew that would never happen. CPDs become predictable like that. And with their tendency to botch everything, maybe it's better I'm here alone, armed with an iPhone and the perfect opportunity to prove everyone wrong. It wouldn't be the first time a high schooler had to jolt adults into action. I checked my phone's battery. According to a witness, the first teen who hit my dad had 2 silver spikes pierced through his bottom lip. For attackers that operate on anonymity, the lead was rare. Not that Detective Irving thought so. He claimed it was hearsay. Said he needed tangible evidence. Pictures, videos, clear shots of their faces. I scroll through the images I've already taken, enough to rival any tourist. And while I haven't seen lip spikes, that doesn't mean there aren't others already here blending in with the crowd. Raising my phone again, I imitate the tourists. I angle and fidget with my screen like I'm capturing something picturesque and click. The walkway ahead, the plaza to my right. Down the pier, a small group clusters beside the mini cruise ship. A captain and first mate stand at the end of the carpeted ramp, greeting each tourist climbing aboard with a reassuring, artificial smile. I zoom in on the third crew member who stands at ease. His eyes shift around like he's searching for any sign of disturbance. But is something about to begin? I snap a shot and scrutinize it. His age is right, between 15 and 21, but nothing else fits the swarm's profile. He isn't alone. He's not masking his identity. My breath hitches, making the inhale shallow and unsatisfying as I chuck the phone into my bag. I close my eyes, relax my shoulders, and curse the weather for changing too quickly this year. Air in, air out. Slow, methodic, my lame attempt at convincing my body that breathing isn't so hard. A phone chimes next to me. My attention snaps to a girl approaching from the left. She sits beside me on the bench. 19-ish, bronze skin, copper-colored hair slicked back in a tight ponytail. Her oversized scarf conceals her neck, half her face. Sunglasses. A local, likely hiding her identity. I jerk my eyes away, take another deep breath. Pinching the pendant on my necklace, a tiny 4-leaf clover imprinted on a silver disc, I twist the chain around my finger. I scan the crowd. An older group near the hot dog stand cackles at the vendor retelling jokes in his fake Italian accent. The popcorn guy next to him takes money from 3 girls, all too young, and scoops popcorn in one continuous motion. A 30-something couple takes selfies by the railing. A half-dozen other couples and families loiter around, but the crowd is still sparse, still filled with tourists. None of them are swarm material except Copperhead next to me and the teenage boy 20 feet to my right. Without turning my head, I risk another glimpse. He's still sitting hunched over at the base of some monument, 18-ish, broad-shouldered. He jams his hands inside the pockets of an oversized Chicago hoodie like he wants to be mistaken for a tourist. Headphone wires disappear beneath the hood, concealing half his face. He's been sitting like that for over an hour. Even though I've snapped a dozen pictures, I can't stare at him longer than a few seconds at a time without getting a piercing pang in my gut. Will you sign a petition to preserve our city's parks? A short, pixie-like girl holding a clipboard tight against her chest addresses Copperhead, who doesn't look up, like her headphones make her impervious to solicitors. What I wouldn't give for headphones right now. By the time I grab my book and bury my face in it, Pixie Girl has already turned toward me. Do you like our city's green space? I keep my head down, cueing her to move along, but Pixie Girl is undeterred. Just my luck. We're collecting signatures today to stop the lakefront project from selling off the parks along Lake Michigan. We had a city ordinance dating back to 1919 which protected the land. I make the mistake of looking up. Pixie Girl has long, narrow ears sticking out of her short blonde hair. She wears shimmery eyeshadow. At this point, I have to assume she's embracing the whole elf image thing. She misinterprets my glance for interest, and her eyes ignite with fervor. Should belong to the city, not wealthy businessmen and bureaucrats with their million-dollar homes. I'm only 16, I say, unable to tolerate any more of her rant. You can still sign. This is just a statement of supporting, indicating... Not interested. I'm about to tell Pixie Girl that fairies don't exist when her face flattens. She shoves the clipboard toward me. I'm out to collect 300 signatures today. I look at Copperhead, wondering how she escaped this persecution. Impatient, I grab the clipboard and sign my name. Pixie Girl smirks, curtsies. Thank you for your support. As she skips off to find her next victim, I glance down the pier toward the city. My pulse races as I realize I can no longer see the entrance to Festival Hall or the beer garden 50 yards away. People are milling. The crowd has grown thicker in the last few minutes. I profile the crowd. 2 families, definitely tourists. 3 more scattered clusters, all traveling in packs. But this time I see loners. A boy facing the lake watching the waves. Baseball cap, head down. I count 4 others like him leaning against the railing. They stand at least 10 feet apart. 2 of them talk without looking at each other. 1 listens to music. The 4th watches his phone as if it might ring, as if something is about to happen. All these people who fit the swarm's profile seem to have materialized out of nowhere in the time Pixie Girl forced me to sign her worthless petition. I grab my phone and I steady my hand. With my best attempt at looking both casual and self-absorbed, I hit record. I take a panoramic video of the teeming crowds. I capture the boys at the railing. One of them turns his head, and I zoom in on the left side of his face. I get the kid at the base of the statue again, his exposed nose and chin. At the last second, I flip my phone around and smile as if recording myself commemorating my Labor Day weekend at Navy Pier. In doing so, I capture the girl next to me. Even if they are all disguising themselves, it's enough to incriminate at least some of them. I jam my book into my bag and throw the strap over my torso, eager to head back toward the city. Get the heck off this pier before the attack breaks out. This has always been the riskiest part. I can't get trapped at the end of the pier. The water is behind me. It's too high to jump. Clutching my phone, I head toward my escape on the north side of the pier, a narrow walkway by the parking garage that's isolated from the main stretch. But 3 steps in, a group of guys, 5 of them, masked by hats, hoods, and sunglasses, round the pier's grand ballroom, heading toward the lake and the bench where I'd been sitting just moments ago. Each of them looked massive, and worse, enraged. Blood drains my body, leaving me numb and useless when I see the 2 spikes piercing the lead guy's bottom lip like fangs. The guy who killed my dad. They're closing in. My hands shake. I struggle to hit record. As I do, Lip Spikes lifts his chin, giving me the best shot I'm going to get. I turn back toward the main stretch and halt. Another cluster converges from the pier's south side, blocking both exits. I scan for the best way out, only to find the boy with the oversized hoodie at the base of the monument staring at me. His eyes are paralyzing. They look colorless, or gray, I can't decide. They are fascinating and strange, eerily bright. For the tiniest of moments, I don't even notice the expression behind them. But when I do, my stomach drops. His glare is sharp and piercing, like he hates me. Like he knows what I'm doing, what I've already done. He flips a cell in his hand. Everything in me tightens. Buzzing and ringing surround me. Teenagers wearing heavy clothing, hats, glasses, sunglasses, scarves, hoods, gloves, circle the pier. My gaze flickers between them. Half of them are tucking their phones away. The other half seem to be checking them, the lights of their screens peppering the fog with little blue orbs. The buzzing is deafening. I want to cover my ears and curl into a ball against the railing. I want to crawl under the bench and hide there. I dial 911 and hit send. And then I stop breathing. I realize now why the boy is staring at me. It's not because he knows what I've done. It's much worse than that. The swarm isn't after a tourist. They're after me. Every Stolen Breath by Kimberly Gabriel. Check it out. See you.